So this is my review of Army of Frogs by Froglords. This band started as a one-man band. Now they have four members. They play like doom and sludge metal. They're from England. I was originally just going to do this in my weekly metal roundup, but I decided to do a full review because I thought it was pretty good. Hey, why not? So let's talk about it. I like the concept of this band. It's like a fictional character called a Froglord. It's a lot more original than like a lot of these other metal bands. You know, they're either singing about the devil, singing about the government, and we need more metal bands about like other stuff. And this band chose frogs. I like that. My first impression was that it was like a stoner doom, and I thought it was enjoyable. The songs are catchy, and then I have been listening to it a few times. So let me talk about the song. So it opens up with a song called Dystopia, and it starts with this very like fuzzy, distorted guitar riff, and it just the sound is just very sludgy and like slimy. The vocals are heavy, kind of cool. Remind me of Rob Zombie. You get some psychedelic guitar rock sounds and some cool drum fills here and there. Now let me just say again how much I like the guitar tone. It's just very thick and fuzzy. There are parts of the song where they do get like a little trippy and spacey, and other parts with some heavy death metal style vocals. So there's a lot going on here. Then the next track, Northern Temple. I like it because the opening riff reminded me of like kind of like, I guess, an alternative rock type of band. You know, something from the 90s, maybe something like Bush. But when the vocals kick in, they're just very psychedelic. They use a mix of these heavy stoner vocals and death vocals in. They add in some of those like late 60s style guitar riffs, and it gives it more of like a psychedelic feel. I'd also like to mention that even though this is doom, it's not very slow. Like the songs move at a nice pace. They're not repetitive, so they mix it up a lot. Then another one that reminded me of 90s alternative rock, but more of a sludgy tone, was Paradigm Shift. And you get some deep and heavy vocals, and the kind of vocals that sound like a frog croaking. I think they're kind of going for that. But it moves into like a psychedelic sound. They do like some like guitar solos, some like sludgy vocals in the background, and the song continues the story of the Froglord. It's also one of the darker songs on the album. Then they give you an instrumental next called Bardo. It's just you hear like sounds of like the swamp, and there's like a low bass line, it's a soft melody. You hear some like water moving, some birds, and then it goes into my favorite song called Army of Frogs, the title track. It's a little slower. It starts with that like grungy guitar tone I like, but it's the first song I heard. They did a music video for this, and this is the song that's been stuck in my head for a few days now. It just has these very cool psychedelic guitar riffs, and it's one I really like. You got a catchy chorus, and they use like lots of different like vocal styles. It's a cool song, and one of the reasons I've been listening to this so much. Then Crush Your Enemies. At this point in the album, we're about like halfway through. We get like the spoken word part, and it goes into like this grungy kind of industrial metal kind of guitar riff and some heavy vocals. And you get more of those like frog croaking style vocals. The guitar riff in the song has a nice crunch, and you also get some cool like death growls on this track. And the next song called Funeral Rite, and as the title suggests, it's a slower song. But it's not like too slow. But the riffs are thick and heavy. The vocals are dark. The song is just extra thick and chunky. It just plods along with this heavy rhythms and spacey atmospheres, and you do get a cool psychedelic guitar solo. And after that is Procession. I like this one. It has like some cool like Alice in Chains vibes, and they mix it with some like Rob Zombie kind of vocal styles. It's heavier, it's sludgier, and the cool use of like the lead guitar licks, and they create these like spacey melodies. Has a nice level of energy. They add in some like heavier drum beats, and you know, it's pretty cool. Then you got a Crystal Pyramid. It's like a slow builder. Has a nice groove to it, kind of spacey, trippy, and like slimy. Really cool use of the death growls mixed with some cleaner vocals. Another song with a cool groove, and it ends with like this nice wah-wah guitar solo. And the final song is called Watcher. Starts with like these heavy distorted bass guitar riffs. This one's like slow, it's heavy, and all the elements of classic stoner metal. The sound is just extra sludgy. The song just goes into this very like different, almost like a new wave style kind of change at one point, but then it gets sludgy again, and that's it. The final album. That's how the album ends. So in conclusion, it's a good album. So I gave it a full review for that reason because I just was going to include it in my end of the week list, but I liked it. I had an extra day available, so hey, let me review it. I have been listening to it a couple times this week. It's one of the albums I do go back to a little more often than like the other ones. And I think if you like bands like Clutch, Monster Magnet, Queens of the Stone Age, like that kind of stuff, you'll probably like this band. I like the concept of frogs, something very different. You know, we need a little more variety in like the metal community. Lots of bands doing the same kind of thing as far as like lyrical content. So it was cool that this was original. I like it a lot. My score is an 8 out of 10. It's very solid, no skippable tracks. It's not a long album, maybe like about 40 minutes. It's the perfect length. So let me know in the comments what you thought.